Hi everyone, I'm Kandis Porter, and today I'm going to show you something really cool in Smartsheet. If you have not seen Smartsheet's Formula Handbook template set, you are missing out. I'm going to walk you through today, showing you how to download the template set. We're going to save it in a new workspace so that it is easily accessible. We're going to explore the dashboard that comes along with it, to include the function glossary, to include searching for formulas in their advanced formula examples. We will take a look at the project plan, and then we will wrap up in exploring the reports associated with the template set. The template set is really helpful so that you can continue to build in automation to your project plans, to your day-to-day task list, to anything that you're collaborating with others within Smartsheet. So let's go ahead and take a look and go through step by step and understand how this formula template set can benefit you. I'm currently logged into Smartsheet, and you're going to see me looking over here because I have a separate screen over here. So I apologize for not looking directly onto the camera, but I think the more important part is that you're able to see what I'm doing on my screen here in Smartsheet. Once you are logged into Smartsheet, I want you to look for the little plus sign along the left-hand blue bar. We're going to click on Solution Center. If you click on that little plus sign, it's going to allow you to search. And this is where we can find a lot of Smartsheet template sets. Smartsheet has many, many templates. So if you're looking for a way to improve your invoicing, you can search invoice. If you're looking for project plan template sets, which I have a full video on that. I also have several videos on the PMO template sets. Come out here and search before you start creating something from scratch. That is always my recommendation. For today, I'm going to just put in formula. Once I click enter on that, Formula Handbook template set comes up. If I click on that, it's going to offer me a short video, and it's going to tell me just a few quick bullets about this. I know that this is what I want to take a look at. So I'm going to click Learn More. This is the overview of everything that I'm going to find in the template set. So it's intended for beginners to Smartsheet, which is great. It means anyone can use this. As far as Smartsheet complexity level, medium. So you should have a little bit of knowledge about how to use Smartsheet. And then if we scroll down, the very important button that we're going to come back to is this green download button. That is what we're going to click in order to create a new workspace and store this in it. However, let me just show you what this looks like. Gives you a quick overview of the capabilities, benefits, and some other details here. So the real point of this is to help you better use Smartsheet formulas in the sheets that you're creating. Talks about how all of the different assets are connected. And so the main thing, our starting point, is going to be the Formula Handbook dashboard. It's going to be where all of the information is, and we can click into the different Smartsheet assets from there. So I'm going to show you what that looks like shortly. Some additional details about how this template set is organized. And then what I'm going through now is going to loosely follow this setup and customize. And you can come back here and follow this step by step if you'd like, but I want to just boil it down so that you can see my screen and see exactly what I'm doing. That'll take you through several steps. And then down at the bottom, it talks about some of the additional add-ons for Smartsheet that can help you take template sets to the next level. I'm scrolling back up so that I can click on that green download button right here. Give that a quick click. And this is going to download into my Sheets section. If you look up here where it says Sheets, you now see that I have something called Template Set Formula Handbook. When I think of Sheets, I think of that as just loose documents stored there. So if you have Word document on your computer, for example, and you just save that on your desktop, it's going to be a Word document. Maybe you save a PowerPoint there. Maybe you save an Excel there, but they're all loose documents. That's how I think of sheets here, is where they're kind of one-off. What I prefer to do is to organize in workspaces. A workspace is intended to be a shared atmosphere. So I can organize many documents related to the same things. Let's say we're working on a project together. I want all of the project documents in one workspace, and then I can invite others to collaborate and have access to them. So you invite people best when it's a shared workspace so that there's not a lot of one-off kind of sheets that they're invited to. I'm going to follow the same rule with this. I'm going to right-click on Workspaces, click on Create New Workspace, and I'm going to call this Formula Template Set. I now have that here. It's an empty workspace, and I can just drag this template set from Sheets into the formula template set. I get a warning here. Workspace members will be shared to the items. Do you wish to continue? I'm going to click OK. I don't currently have anyone invited to this workspace. I'm the only one. I'm the owner. And I know that because when I click on the workspace, I see that I'm the only person listed where the workspace is shared to. If I invited 5 coworkers to this, I would see their names listed below mine. So I now have a workspace set up. It's called Template Set, Formula Handbook. I'm going to click into that. And I mentioned earlier, I'm going to start with the dashboard. This is the easiest place to begin. And you know that it's a dashboard because it has this little green symbol next to it. And it says Formula Handbook Dashboard. If I click on that, this is kind of the meat and potatoes of the Formula Handbook. And I say that because everything that I want to know is linked into this gorgeous dashboard. So I mentioned earlier that we'll take a look at function glossary. That is linked in here. An example project plan is linked in here. Some advanced formula examples and some reports. There's some additional details about each of these over here, so it defines the purpose of them. And if I look down here, this is really cool because it shows at quick glance how many formulas fall into different categories. So 9% of the formulas that we're going to look at are mathematical, 31% are tailored for projects, tasks, and status updates, 16% are for utility, 35% are work with dates, and then 9% work with text or strings. There's a lot of additional information down here where you can learn about formula basics. You can go and prompt the Smartsheet community with questions. They're really great generally at getting back to you if you ask a question. There's technical support. Down here through Smartsheet University, there's some additional educational aspects where you can click and learn more about formulas, and then some webinars. And these are recordings which are nice because they're self-paced. If I look a little bit further down, I see a functions list cheat sheet, and this can be really helpful to remind you of some of the functions. If you recall, Smartsheet acts similar to Excel, where you can enter an equal sign and start to type a formula. That's what this functions list is intended to do. So you will see that these start with the equal sign. If we're working within a Smartsheet, we can type the equal sign and then type in a function and command it to do something. I'm going to scroll back up to the top here. I want to show you the function glossary. And as a reminder, the function glossary, this is where we're going to see the formula basics. So cell references, operators, and every Smartsheet function, its syntax, as an example. We'll then look at the project plan and then look at some of those advanced formulas. Function glossary is first, and this has a version number, so if Smartsheet updates to a new version, you'll be able to tell. This is version 1.1, so you may want to check yours when you download it and see if anything looks or feels different. It explains what the function glossary is, and down here you can expand. So for cell references, it's a cheat sheet that shows you how to reference specific cells. There's the operators. So add, subtract, divide, multiply. These are the keys to use when you're doing that. The functions, which is pretty similar to what we were just looking at on that dashboard. This is helpful because it's divided into different categories. So numeric, I'm big on logic because, as you know, I'm always talking about creating a logic-based project schedule. So you can really go to the type of functions that you'd like to take a look at. There's also a little cheat sheet drop down for errors. And so if you're getting an error, you can come and take a look here. And it gives you some additional details. We're not going to get into too many details with these because I want to just give an overview of the function glossary and then a quick overview of the project plan and so forth. So we're not going to go too deep into these, but if there's something that you have a question on or would like to learn more about, please comment in the video. I'll keep an eye on those comments. And I'll also remind you, the link on the dashboard to the Smartsheet community is also a great place for you to go if you have some questions about formulas. So function glossary organized by the title, the description, the category. You'll see that there's a syntax here, an example, and then the result and any pro tips. So make sure that as you're looking at each of these rows, you're going all the way across the row to learn more. I am now back on the dashboard and I am clicking on the example project plan. Now, there is a specific project plan with formulas in here. And the reason for that is because some of the formulas only work in a dependency-enabled sheet or a project plan. So when I talk about a logic-based schedule, what I'm really talking about is how there's a predecessor column in here, and we put in a duration, and our start dates and our end dates are oftentimes driven by the duration, the predecessor columns. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about logic-based. You'll see here that it talks about some of the additional reasons for the project plan sheet. And it also talks about how you can use the different fields. For example, here is where it talks about expanding rows. The sheet uses hierarchy to organize data. Hit the plus button in a parent row to see the information stored within. So parent and child relationships exist when we're using a project plan. And the purpose of that is to have parent task and then subtask under. So basically it's a way of grouping like items. If we have a deliverable, such as a marketing plan, that may be our parent task. And then we want to indent each of the subtasks underneath of that or child task to say, here's how we're going to create this deliverable. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. But it's grouping of like items to keep them organized. So I'm going to show you what this means where it says expand rows. Down below, starting on row 13, there's an example project and it's called Project Apollo. If I click on the plus sign, it's going to show me how the project is organized. And it has planning with all of the tasks under there. So I can now condense or expand each of these by clicking on the plus sign to expand or the minus sign to condense. So I'm now going to condense the planning phase. We've got the execution, and here's all of the tasks that are associated with that. I'm going to condense that, the monitoring, and the closing here. You can see that they have this organized so that there's the task name, the status for each of the tasks, the assigned to, the start date, the end date, the successors. So a successor task is one that follows a predecessor task. A predecessor task is one that must be completed before a successor task can begin. So it's usually a finish-start relationship when we're talking about logic-based schedules. For example, activity 1 is a successor task to activity 35. Activity 1 under phase 2 here, this is a successor task to number 40. You can also see the predecessor column over here. So again, a predecessor task must be completed first. Successor task follows. We've got the percent complete for each of the tasks, the duration of the task. This is starred as, is it critical? What that is telling us is if those tasks are on the critical path. And I'm going to check that by going over to the right-hand side where the Gantt view is and clicking on this where it's hide critical path. You can see if the ones that are starred are actually showing up in red. And yes, they are. So is it on the critical path? It's starred. It's got a red box around it if it's on the critical path. This one, for example, is not. It is not on the critical path. So the critical path is what makes up the start date and the end date of our project because it shows the shortest overall duration based on the flow of work. I'm not going to get into too many more details on this. Again, I'm trying to do a high level, but I will point out a couple of additional things. I'm going to condense this overall project example. The sheet summary, it says here, want to learn more about this sheet? Click on the summary on the right-hand side. What they're talking about is this little summary. It's the third option from the bottom. If I click on that, it can tell me a little bit more about the purpose of the sheet summary. If it's a real project, it may have details regarding the real project as it should. So the project name, the project start date, the project end date. This shows the number of tasks not started, in progress, complete, canceled, on hold. So the purpose of a sheet summary is to give you some really quick information about the project itself. It then points you back to the Formula Handbook dashboard. So I wanted to just show you an example of what the project plan with some of the formulas activated could do. Back here in the Formula Handbook dashboard, I want to show you just a couple of additional items. The advanced formula examples. I'm clicking on this. This is another really great reference because it is organized by project task status, lookup, utility. This is what I was showing you earlier in that graph format, showed you which percentage of the formulas fell into these categories. If I go to project task and status as an example, it is going to give you an explanation when you would want to use one of these formulas. It's going to give you the formula description. It's going to give you the column type that you need to have set up in the sheet in order to use this formula. And then it gives you the formula itself. So really great reference to go out here, think through how you may like to use a formula, and then you can pull them into some of your actual sheets. The last thing that I'd like to show you on the dashboard, I'd like to show you the reports here. If I click on reports, this is going to take me to two reports, one called Advanced Formula Examples by Category, and the other All Functions. These are simply what are feeding into the dashboard. So if you recall, when we scrolled down towards the bottom of the dashboard, we saw this. This is just a different view if it's easier for you to see. So the category, primary, syntax, example, result, and pro tip. The report, in my opinion, is easier to read, so I prefer to leave the dashboard to get into that. It also allows you to do some sorting and filtering if you so choose. Sort report, and then you could go up and add some new filters. So if I only wanted to see numeric categories, I could go up and filter the report, so that's all that I see. The other report, and the last thing that we're going to explore here, this is the advanced formula examples by category. So again, that arch type of graph that we looked at on the dashboard, it showed that there are mathematical formulas here. There's a total of 5, and here's what they are. So this is a really quick place to go and take a look at the different types of project task status. There's 17 formulas there. So it just allows you to go and at a quick glance see what the advanced formula examples are. With that, thank you so much for joining me today to explore Smartsheet's template set focused on the Formula Handbook. This can be really powerful to take your Smartsheets to the next level. It allows you to really think through automatic calculations so that you're not having to manually get in there and do something. It can also help with some of the automation or the workflows that you want to set up. So please go in, take a glance. Highly recommend creating a new workspace to save it in and starting with the dashboard. Read all of the information on the dashboard, explore the different resources that it provides you with, and then you'll be able to dig in and start adding formulas to your Smartsheet if you haven't used them yet. Thank you for joining me. I am Kandis Porter, the founder and CEO of Effective Flow Connections. You can see my contact information down in the comments below. So shoot an email to inquiry@effectiveflowconnections.com if you'd like. Also, love to hear your comments, your questions. Please post below. And if you haven't subscribed to this All Things Project Management channel yet, please do. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.